Here we go.
Feuds that forever changed rappers for the worse, because today, we're going to be looking at 5 rap beefs that ruined careers.
Of course, Drake
now,
is in
when
there.
it comes to rap beef, while most lyrical duels between rival artists only end up exciting audiences and giving the people involved in the feud more attention than usual, sometimes throughout hip-hop history, certain rap beefs have gotten so out of hand that beyond all the excitement and
I watched so many videos about this rap beef. You know how many times I've seen this Kendrick rap like thing? Like, oh my god, it's this, or is Kendrick
hip-hop in its most competitive form? Someone will walk away with not just an L, but with their reputation forever altered as a result of this. Their careers usually spiral downhill quickly. Whether this was because image-altering secrets were revealed during the beef, or due to humiliating jokes and one-liners that made rappers unable to escape their own
I forgot about this beef. Oh my god. I forgot about that beef.
Because of what went down during them. From some of the biggest rappers ever to some of hip-hop's greatest grifters, we have seen so many artists' dream careers turn into living nightmares from just messing with the wrong person. So if you're ready to see the feuds that broke careers, let's waste no time and let's get right into it. Now, kicking things off, the first beef we are going to be looking
Drake
at
and Meek Mill
was Drake versus Meek Mill. And with this feud, beyond the loss that Drake ended with his pair of humiliating diss tracks with both charts.
It's wild. I feel like Drake got a little... I feel like he felt too much confident, and then when he started pushing Pusha T, then he was like, "Oh shit, like I ain't built for this. I'm built for someone like me."
Of course,
bro. Don't here a rapper, some rapper I don't know, motherfucker. Don't go with beef with lyrical rappers, like lyrical rappers. Just don't. It's just a dumbass idea.
What Drake did with the very concept of releasing multiple songs consecutively to make Meek look even weaker, and then also making a
that's crazy. Again, heresy, right? Like our history repeats, or whatever you want to fucking say. The same way Drake did Meek Mill is exactly the same way Kendrick's doing Drake. It's wild. Like, think about that. That's the same. Drake releasing 2 songs before Meek Mill can respond. Kendrick did the exact same thing. Drake is trying to beat him with memes because he was dead ass showing memes while he was in tour. Kendrick is not even showing you the memes, but he's just letting it happen because we're all memeing on fucking Drake. Like, it's dead ass the same thing. Maybe in a few years we're gonna see Drake and Kendrick in a song together.
Diss track that isn't just a straight up attack of one's character, but that can also be a hit song that is played over and over again on the
see, that's what I just said, bro.
In arenas. Leveled up the type of influence and cultural impact a diss track can have in a feud, and as a result of the songs he dropped and the way a track like Back to Back went insanely
viral, like you see in a fantasy TV show, yeah.
And also had some of the most quotable bars of the entire 2010s decade. Drake made it so that Meek Mill's loss could not escape him, and every time Meek did just about anything. Because of all the angles Drake picked apart Meek from and the catchy way that he did it, Meek was constantly reminded of all the things Drake did to destroy him, and as a result of having an entire period in time where Meek was at the center of every joke, and his head was fresh in the minds of people every time they heard one of the most popular songs of 2020.
Holy shit, bro! Exact same thing is happening. That's crazy. BBL, like, it's so crazy.
Meek Mill's career was ruined as his tough guy image was soiled, and a lot of his music just could not hit the same. Knowing just how bad Drake picked him apart, made him look weak, and
I mean, I wasn't in the rap game during when this happened. I'm pretty sure I was in elementary school, so I was just listening to pop songs. So I had no idea this shit happened.
Made him the most
I had no idea this shit happened. I was nowhere near here for this event. I still like Meek Mill, going bad.
So synonymous with his brand that he ended up naming his first album following the beef Wins and Losses, which sold considerably less than his previous studio albums and had nowhere near the same cultural impact. Now, while towards the late 2010s,
I didn't even know he released an album like
with this loss getting so bad that Meek Mill just embraced it. His career was heading to a full-on demise at a point in time. Meek was somehow able to save his image and really his entire legacy, as after having some trouble with the law, he came out stronger than ever and released an entire comeback album in 2018's Championships that featured a rejuvenated version of himself that captivated audiences once again. So overall, while the
saved himself with that.
Meek Mill's career for
say that with 3,
it did show in 2018 that no matter how bad you get humiliated, there's always a road to redemption that could help you redefine your entire
so confused at 2018. I was like, why people so hyped they're in the same song together? I'm like, yo, it's cool. Like now I know why.
It's safe to say that Drake needs to study how the guy he defeated was able to pull this off. Because after his beef with Kendrick Lamar, he's gonna need to do the same thing as following how K-Dot took Drake's strategy of dropping back-to-back full-on diss tracks and didn't just do this once with Euphoria and 616 in LA, but also again with the far more effective Meet the Grams and Not Like Us. Kendrick humiliated Drake in a way that no other rapper has ever been able to before, as after out-strategizing Drake throughout this entire battle by being ahead of his every move and always having a way to counter any of his attacks, and at the same time by also giving the world diss tracks that have not just thrown out some shocking allegations Drake's way, but that have also had staying power and catchiness to become massive hit songs all the way to the point where Kendrick's Not Like Us has destroyed every single previous streaming record that was held by some of Drake's biggest hit songs. Kendrick has altered the way the entirety of the public doesn't just look at Drake, but also respects him, as after he called him out for being a horrible person and a creep amongst many other things. Everything Kendrick said, and the infectious and viral way these disses have spread around the entire world. Drake's integrity is being questioned like it never has before, and while Drake is still going to remain as one of the biggest stars in the world, debatable. He has been proven to be a straight-up liar about so many things, like his plot to set up Kendrick, and his claims about Kendrick's business partner Dave Free being the father of his kids and all the other personal allegations he threw out. And at the same time, more of what Lamar said has been proven to be true or at the least believable.
Yo, that's a crazy ass video.
Drake's image is deep in the mud, and that no matter how Drake tries to move past this in the future, because of the way Kendrick's diss tracks were designed to make his entire existence look pathetic, and also due to the impact they've had culturally. While Drake will still sell millions of records, that's for sure, people will be thinking about everything Kendrick said to make the biggest song rap has had in years a full-on diss about Drake, and as a result of this, the failure of losing this beef is going to haunt the OVO rapper for a very long time, and no matter what success he sees after this, he will always have the stains Kendrick left on his resume follow with him forever. Now, with the beefs we've looked at so far, the main factor that destroyed Meek Mill for a while and is ruining Drake right now, beyond their losses and the massive impact the diss tracks about them have had, is that moving forward from these feuds, these attacks just left the artists in a place where no matter what they did, we could all tell that they were never the same from the aftermath of the battle. Whether this was Meek Mill's demeanor changing all the way to the point where he could title an album Wins and Losses as he was being labeled the biggest loser in hip-hop at the time, or even Drake releasing a song like The Hard Part 6, where he sounded so compromised and defeated after being so cocky throughout the rest of the beef both in the booth and on social media. When you see a rapper like these just acting in a way that they never have before, it only makes the impact of their L's worse and hurts their reputation even more because it makes it clear to the public that deep down inside, while they may not show it, they do know that they got destroyed. And when it comes to this, one of the strangest cases in this regard is not even with an actual rapper, but with none other than nobody's favorite fake producer, DJ Khaled, who was involved in one of the most random rap beefs back in 2019 with none other than Tyler, the Creator, that left one on the path towards having a career year and solidifying themselves as a modern music legend, and the other solidifying themselves as the absolute biggest joke in hip-hop at the time. Now, Tyler and Khaled's beef didn't feature actual diss tracks.
It's just a weird-ass beef,
instead was over the head-to-head battle in May of 2019 for a #1 debut on the Billboard Top 200 albums chart between Tyler's studio album Igor and Khaled's 11.
My favorite, that's the favorite album so far of the whole Tyler, the Creator discography. Igor is the best.
Despite Khaled having the whole industry on this album, headlined by A-listers like Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Travis Scott. And beyond just the high-profile names, he was also selling nutritional supplements that were bundled with the album to boost its sales, which I don't even think I need to go over why that was such a horrible idea, but with all of this behind the project, despite the heavy push, Tyler's Igor was still projected to take the #1 over it, and as a result, Khaled would encourage fans to stream the album and buy it to inflate its sales, and still, after doing all of this, Igor ended up beating it out for the #1 spot as it sold 165,000 copies in its first week as opposed to Khaled's 136, and as a result, Khaled just straight out lost it because as his brand was always about being how he's the absolute best and how he's #1,
with the one,
Tyler dropping his latest album down to the #2 spot, he lost his entire identity, and while in actuality, this would have not been a big deal to fans or really anybody if Khaled didn't have anything to say about it. After the public meltdown he had for the entire world to see in this cringy video.
I make albums so people can play it and you actually hear it. you know, driving your car, you hear another car playing it. You know, go to the barbershop, you hear them playing it. You know, turn the radio on and you hear them playing it. You know, it's playing
We'll
everywhere.
always have his stomach
It's called
out
great
too.
music. It's called albums that you actually hear the songs.
His beard
Not
is
no
amazing.
mysterious shit and you never hear it. On your dome.
He would forever ruin his image in a way where Khaled went from a talentless artist that everybody kind of thought was funny to a talentless artist that everybody just hated.
Yeah.
Now, by Khaled trying to defend his #2 debut by diminishing the success of Tyler by releasing this strange video where he tried to bash his music and say that it's not respectable because it's mysterious, because you don't hear it out in clubs or blasting in people's cars, and as Khaled sounded so hurt and bitter in this video. People watched the thing, and when Khaled thought that everybody would support his attack on quote-unquote mysterious music, everyone just looked at him like a crazy person and used this moment to humiliate him even more as people started saying things like "we the second best" just to solidify his loss.
We
and
the
really
second
punch
best
in
is
for him what
crazy.
happened. And from this moment on, no matter how much Khaled has tried to move past this all-time low in his career, and to once again portray
Tyler's
himself
career
as the
always
positive guy
reminding
image
him.
that made him so
Always
beloved
showing
at one
him.
point, it has not worked out for him whatsoever, as his album sales have dropped more and more with each new release from here, and
Oh,
this
yeah.
is because his true nature was exposed.
Oh, 107 is
and he
good.
entirely escalated and caused, and overall, by seeing how fragile Khaled's ego was as he went berserk just by losing out on a #1 to one of the most respectable artists the music industry has. Khaled's career was absolutely ruined as people saw him to be the fraud that he is. And now,
That's crazy.
he doesn't just have significantly less commercial impact than before.
Yeah, I
he
bet
has
he heard
no
about him.
cultural impact whatsoever.
Oh, 100%.
Now, when it comes to calling out frauds,
Oh, there we go. I was like, he's supposed to come
Eminem's
here.
beef with Benzino, as when his classic
Oh
2006
yeah,
album,
he
The
showed
Eminem
his
Show,
mother,
was
his
the biggest
daughter.
magazine in hip hop at the time, in the Source.
Source.
He gave it 4 out of 5 mics, which Eminem was
That's
livid about,
crazy.
even went as
That's
far to
crazy.
accuse Benzino of not giving him a higher score because of how he looked. Now, from
Yeah, it
here,
is.
Eminem and Benzino's beef would escalate as M refused to do interviews with him, and this would follow when Benzino decided to release diss tracks at M, where
Benzino
he compared
was
M
a
to Vanilla
dumbass.
Ice, called him
Yo.
overrated, and said that he birthed his career, and
That's
following all
crazy.
of this disrespect, in the very prime
Oh
of
my
his career
God.
as a
M
rapper
killed him.
and in the limelight when it
M
came
the
to being
king.
in
How?
controversy.
Don't ever diss the king of diss, bro. What are you doing?
Eminem made it his
Bro
mission
is
to
like
destroy
50 and
Benzino,
0.
as he
Yeah.
released 3 diss tracks with The Invasion,
Bro said he had a cop to shoot you. He's not gonna shoot himself. He's gonna have a cop to do
The
it.
Sauce, and
Crazy.
Nail in the Coffin, and with this trifecta of songs, Eminem did lethal damage to not just Benzino's career,
Yeah,
as he
his
called
whole
him out
career.
for his awful attempt at rapping, weird tough guy persona that
This
he
is
was
that
trying to
Coil
intimidate him
Roy.
with, and ultimately, and most crucially, to
Dad.
his downfall, for his awful business practices with The Source, and from here, while everything M threw out definitely damaged Benzino's image, he would hurt himself even more than Eminem already did, as he responded with more diss tracks were in a scramble to try to save his credibility. He would try to threaten
Yeah,
Eminem's
talk about his
Haley,
daughter.
and by doing
So
this, by bringing
disrespectful.
somebody's kid into a rap beef and
He-
saying
you
some
done up.
horrible things, Benzino
You
lost all
done up.
credibility and just looked like an insane freak to everyone.
Yeah.
And this didn't just make Benzino such a joke, all the way to the point where his own family in the music industry, like Coi Leray, does not associate with him to this day. But because
that's
of the
crazy.
pathetic way he
Yeah, I
acted
knew
during
he was
this
that.
feud, his actions and lack of professionalism, even in the sport of battle rap, by taking family into
Yeah.
things and just looking like a clown, took down the magazine he co-founded with The Source with him, and made what was once hip-hop media's greatest achievement into a sheer and utter disgrace. So for
Damn.
Eminem taking down a man's career and the publication they put their entire life into in a rap beef, it's safe to say that this ruined
I want
things like
number
few
one.
others ever have. And while with all these beefs that we've looked at, we have seen what has turned these L's from rappers into moments that have ruined their careers. Tends to be because they start acting differently and scrambling to say just about anything to defend themselves. We have never seen this way into speedrunning your reputation and everything you own into the ground worse than what went down with M and Benzino, because to this day, over 20 years
this
later,
day.
the man who was once the mind behind the most powerful
He's-
voice in rap music
he's-
is now
he's
one of the
a
genre's
clown.
least respected people, and with Benzino still trying to come at him and do anything for clout. Seems like every time he's in a headline, this reputation is somehow only getting worse, and this downward spiral is only
Yeah.
continuing. Now, when it comes to rap beefs that have ruined careers, while the feuds we have looked at have destroyed artists' reputations and shown them to be weaker than we once thought, the next feud we're looking at is one that has ruined one man's career so bad that their career is pretty much over in every sense of the word, and this is of course with 50 Cent and Ja Rule, and to what this feud, as 50 is still trolling Ja to this very day, despite their feud starting all the way back in the late 90s over Ja Rule mistaking 50 for stealing his chain, and once he accused 50 of doing this. 50 of course never let it go, as he has made Ja's career
that's so crazy
for decades, as time and time again, their feud has taken so many different forms. Whether this was humiliating him with classic diss tracks like 2002's Wanksta, or having the feud escalate so much that 50 teamed up with Eminem and Busta Rhymes, who also had their own beef with Ja Rule, and they all came together to whoop him one time. Wow, that's crazy. Through some of the most memorable diss tracks ever released, 50 just came at Ja
crazy. Having them 3-ass motherfuckers come at you is crazy.
He has been involved in more controversial and embarrassing moments. This feud has taken an entirely new life, especially when we entered the social media age, as 50 Cent has transitioned from making scathing diss tracks about Ja to trolling him in the most hilarious ways possible, as whether it was buying out all the front row seats at his concerts
I remember that,
or just making sure to clown him pretty much any single time that Ja does about anything. 50 Cent has not let Ja Rule have one moment without him stepping on it, all the way to the point
he always gonna remind you.
Even think of Ja Rule without thinking of 50 Cent.
I didn't even know that. That's hilarious. I didn't even know that. Bro, it's like you would never live without me. Thanks for the live. Stay strong. Bye. Have a good no problem, William. Have a good day.
With all of this, and while Ja has even admitted in the past that 50 Cent has won their beef, despite him waving the white flag, 50 has still him over and over again at this point. It looks like 50 will continue to make things a living nightmare for Ja Rule for the rest of his life. So overall, with the rap beefs we have looked at that in some shape or form have ended in ruin.
What's number one?
With most feuds and even some on the list, artists will still be able to find success in some shape or form. What has made these feuds stand out as some of the absolute worst
that's 5
is not the actual loss that any of these
he said M,
but it's how they
Drake,
responded to the L, and whether realizing it or not. Let them define their personality in public.
DJ Khaled, and what we just have right now.
Man in hip hop attacking another man's success, or once feared rapper
so 50
and letting defeat
me,
or the
Drake, Kendrick, M, and DJ Khaled. Yeah, we have 5.
Out of character and brand, and maybe even say things while trying to defend yourself. Completely backfired.
Fucking dumbass.
These feuds stand out as ones that
dumbass. We all love beef feuds. I thought he was gonna pull go all the way back like Tupac and all that, but okay, no, we're good. We're good. Yeah, okay. No more reaction.